Hi everybody. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sí ẹ káàbọ̀ sí ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí welcome. So uh this evening the Yoruba is not Yoruba in this evening. Ẹ káàbọ̀. Welcome. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa yìí. That's what I've been trying to say. Hello, Mr. Professor. How are you? What's going on, people? What's going on? Hi everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Come on in, say hello. 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 Thank you. How's everyone doing? Happy Thursday. Hello, Dr. EJ. Canal, thank you for joining. Let's see. Oh, I have the wrong. Hold on one second. I have the wrong topic. Oh, I haven't changed that. Okay, there we go. It's live. You see what you say. You do whatever it comes, you deal with it. Hello, Epic Movement. Let me guess, you're probably working. He works a lot. Well, look who's talking. Hi everyone. Happy Thursday. Come on in. Say hello when you come on. Especially if good night. How are you? Especially if this is your first time joining us. Let us know what state, what city, what country. Oh, you're way to work. Okay. It has to do with work. Do you ever take a break? Like, do you ever take a break? But anyway, let's know what city, what state, what country you are joining us from. And welcome. We come together as a group of immigrants every hello, Blue Trillions. It's been a minute. It's been a while. How are you? Binga Farina from is it Farina or Farina? From Indiana. I was eating because on Tuesday I was snacking because Tuesday I ate and my stomach was like, empty. I'm not sure if more. But so this time around, I was like, you didn't take. I feel you though. But anyway, every Tuesday and Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. Every other time zone, Mountain, whatever is Pacific. I don't know what time it's going to be. I went to law school, so I don't have to do math. Every law, Google or Siri or Alexa, one of those AI girls. But anyway, we come together as a group of immigrants to discuss all things immigration, supporting one another, encourage one another, praying for one another, especially with everything that's going on around us now. Like, y'all, I don't know if I hardly watch news anymore unless I really have to or it's in my face. Um, to see how, hello, Miss Geraldine, how the media is almost being silenced. Like people are saying something and they're losing their jobs because they don't. The networks are in fear of retaliation. Like it is crazy, y'all. It is. And if you let me keep what I was going to say because yeah, let's just leave that alone. But anyway, but especially during this time, there's nothing more important than to come together as a group of um like minds and pray for one another and just know that regardless of what may be going on around you, things are going to work out in your favor. Yes, a new test for N400. Well, if you had filed it, you would have been done by now. But anyway, I think we'll do updates because there are more updates coming up. I believe that new test policy actually goes into effect today, September 18, but I have to confirm that for you all. So that's not what we're talking about tonight, but that's part of what we're going to be expecting. But if we can help you with your immigration case, if it's an H-1B petition, you have an employer who's sponsoring you, a bar petition, employer-sponsored EB1 or EB2, citizenship application, I-751, regular marriage case, asylum, fiance visa. Those are a few of the case types that we handle when it comes to immigration. Hello, Miss Avina. How are you? How are you? How are you? I hope you had a good day. Y'all, this week went really fast. Like tomorrow is Friday already. I'm not complaining, but it's good. But anyway, we'll be glad to represent you in your immigration case. Contact our office at 334-341-4475. Visit our website at 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, info@𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. That's the email address. The fastest way to get someone or to reach out to us is going to be either calling us during our normal business hours, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Alabama Central Standard Time, or good evening, or send a text to us on WhatsApp. I have someone who takes you about WhatsApp. She's in a different time zone, so even if you send a text like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., you may get a response because yeah. But now, if you send a text at like 3 a.m. and you're wondering right now when it's responding, because send to 3 a.m. Like, or sometimes I'm off 3 a.m., but that's someone else taking care of that. But anyway, we'll be glad to represent you in your immigration case. Shout out to Miss F.I., whose I-751 is approved. We were really, to be honest with you, I'm not sure she's on. We were expecting an RFE because the interview was a joint petition. She came to me when things went. She knew she had to convert. In the process of preparing her case, USCI sent an RFE at that time, and so in response to the RFE, we also requested a conversion to a self petition. Had an interview back in May, I want to believe it was, and it was tense. I see, like my spirits. I'm not surprised you're up at 3 a.m. It was a very tense interview, but we prepped it because I told her, listen, this is probably going to be, and that was the line of questioning. So we're like, you know what, listen, we'll probably deal with it. Just preparing our minds for an RFP, and as God will have it, God was like, no RFP. This one is signed, sealed, delivered, and her case has been approved. Now I'll tell you that we also filed citizenship application to fast track the I-751. So if you are in a situation like that, that's another thing you can do. But I will say, if you know you've got something in your record that's going to become an issue as far as good moral character, that may not necessarily be the best route for you in the sense of filing for citizenship, because then that may get denied and your I-751 may be affected. So in a nutshell, just make sure you have an attorney in your case or you consult with one to know whether or not it's worth filing for citizenship under this administration, or just keep your green card for the next 3 years and just wait. It just depends. But shout out to Miss F.I. Couldn't be happier for her. And shout out to Mr. Dable also, who was sworn in as a citizen. It's we and I always want to make sure that we know that in spite of everything that may be going on around us, and increased denials or whatever the case may be, God is still at work with getting approvals. People are getting their green cards, they're getting citizenship. God is still at work because He has the final say. So no matter what it is that you're going through, trust and believe that He is going to meet you at the point of your need. So just hang in there. Hello, Miss Fumbi. How are you? All right. So like, follow, share, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn at Olale Immigration. Share this video. Share video, because you just never know who's going to benefit. And what we're going to talk about tonight is one of those grounds that causes, it's the number one reason why marriage-based cases that involve Nigerians is denied. Number one reason for denial. Take a wild guess, y'all. Of course it is. I want to file for something, but this side is studio. No, there's nothing. Epic, there's nothing in your record. I represent you, so there's nothing in your record that's going to be a problem. Actually, you need to file it now and be done with it. But I digress a little bit. Citizenship status is changing. It's not going to be immediate. So there's going to be a 30-day grace period, but we'll put that post up maybe tomorrow. That's because I was supposed to review that. Kyla, who does our posts on social media, is like, "Hey, girl, you haven't reviewed much this week." Yeah, because I had criminal trials. Like, I mean, gotta be a mama, gotta be a criminal defense attorney, gotta be an immigration attorney. I mean, so I was like, "Girl, just hold on." Can kill myself. Can kill myself. Can fishing. But anyway, we'll get you more information about the citizenship application. But let's talk about the number one reason why many marriage cases that involves Nigerians. Okay, that's fine. Gets denied, which is divorce decree. Divorce decree, y'all. It is literally killing cases. Literally killing cases. Like you could have all the evidence in this world for good faith or your shared residence or whatever the case may be for your VAR case, but the divorce decree is what I call an epidemic. It's getting out of hand. And to make matters even worse, the Department of State, hi, Mr. Lechi, they're not late, we actually just started not too long ago. The Department of State has now updated the reciprocity schedule, and they removed a lot of information that was very helpful to knowing what particular type of divorce document to submit for the type of marriage you had. And now it's a case where it looks like they just throw anything. But so now more than ever, you need to make sure that you have an attorney who understands what is needed for your case type and the type of divorce document that you need to submit for your case. So let's talk about, is your divorce decree compliant? That's the question. Do you have a divorce document that was, first of all, let me say this, and I've said this so many times, God knows I have beaten a dead horse on this issue, but it is constant. For instance, I had a consultation with someone today that unfortunately their VAR petition was approved January 2024. They had an interview. Let me see if I can pull it up. The case was approved January 2024. They had an interview in March of this year. And keep in mind that the adjudicating officer of your I-485 doesn't necessarily have the authority to revoke. Actually, not necessarily. They don't have the authority to revoke your VAR petition. And they cannot bring up, they can only question you regarding the VAR petition on issues that, if new information comes to light that the VAR adjudicating officer was not aware of. So she had her VAR case approved January 2024, had an interview March 2025, and the interviewing officer says, by the way, we doubt your divorce documents, and so we're going to recommend that the Vermont Service Center reopens your file because we don't think you submitted the right documents, what yada yada yada. And she was like, okay, maybe they were actually joking or something. Fast forward to last week in August, I think August 28 to 29 thereabout. After the interview, she got a notice of intent to revoke the approved VAR petition, which had been approved since January 2024. Responded to that, they finally revoked the approval of the VAR last week in August. That's when she came to consult with us. So now we are preparing an appeal. So I say all that to say this. Hey, Miss Sanctuary, even when they approve your case, we are seeing this administration reopen approved cases in order to now make any allegation or whatever. And usually they're able to make a big deal out of divorce documents. So let's talk about that so that you don't find yourself in a situation that, now, like I said, they have taken out a whole lot of information that was very helpful to know what you need to submit using the reciprocity schedule. So the reciprocity schedule is released by the Department of State, and what it contains is information that other countries have provided to the United States regarding acceptable documents for whatever situation you need. So say, for instance, a marriage certificate, if they say that, if you say you got married in the courthouse, or you got married in the church, and you're supposed to register that with the registry, or you got married in the registry, then you've got the marriage registry certificate, right? And if you're getting divorced, because that was a registry marriage, you are required to have a high court divorce document, which would be the decree nisi, decree absolute, and they have to be compliant with the Nigerian Matrimonial Causes Act. If you have a customary marriage, on the other hand, there is no documentation that you're going to use to prove customary marriages besides having photographs. When you're getting a divorce, a dissolution of a customary marriage, most of the time it is a lot easier to just use an affidavit. Some people go to the court, into the customary court, keeping in mind that you cannot dissolve a customary marriage in a high court. Now, here's where I wanted to, so if you guys, you may want to come on YouTube, or what is going on with my internet now? YouTube or Facebook, because that's the only that I don't know how to share screen on the other one, because I went in law school. Like I said, I went to law school, so I don't have to do tech stuff. But I want to show you something. So let me see if I can get this information here. Department of State. It was very, so they had information that was that actually tallied with what the requirement was for customary marriages, for Islamic marriages, all of that in Nigeria. Now they have streamlined the information as far as what you need, so that it looks like, this is just my thinking, it looks like they've given themselves an opportunity to say, well, this is just the basic information. We don't think that this complies with what the reciprocity schedule is saying, but the reciprocity schedule right now, they have information there that is absolutely incorrect, and that we'll get to that. But I want to show you, let me see if I can pull it from one of my clients' document here. Let's see. Reciprocity schedule. Where is that? Okay, there we go. Okay, so there it is. This is where this is what I'm looking for, I think. This is what I'm looking for. Certificate marriage. Okay, there we go. Here's what I'm looking for. Divorce document. So here it is. Okay, here we go. Get this. Let me see if I can do this and make it larger. Okay, all right. So if you want to come on Facebook or YouTube, and so you can see what I'm going to share my screen. And let me say this before I share my screen. Is your divorce decree compliant? In order for you to know whether or not, so in every single marriage case, if you've been married before, then you are required to submit proof that you have a qualifying relationship. You cannot prove qualifying relationship without having to prove that every previous marriage you had has been legally terminated, depending on the type of marriage you had. If you had a registry marriage or a church wedding, usually you would be required to register that after the ceremony. Then that means that, let me back up. If you are in the United States, especially if you and your soon-to-be former spouse, or apply for visa together, but it's separate, and then you came to the United States and 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 will barely reconcile, but we couldn't reconcile, and then we want to get a divorce. That's the whole story. But what story me? But that's the same story. All right. So you're at the point where you now want to get divorced. I'm not sure why people, especially if you've been in the country more than 6 months, most states require a 6-month residency requirement, meaning you have been a resident of that state for at least 6 months. Most people usually satisfy that requirement. So I still don't understand why people go back to Nigeria to get divorce documents, because it complicates things. But anyway, so you decide you want to get, you started this divorce proceedings in Nigeria. Keep in mind that you must have divorce documents that matches the kind of marriage you had. If you had a registry marriage, then you must be able to produce a decree nisi, a decree absolute, which is usually issued by the high court of whatever state your divorce proceedings is before. So if it's Lagos High Court, then it has to be decree nisi, decree absolute. there are specific requirements that need to be contained in those documents. An example would be if you've got minor children at the time your divorce was final, then the children must be mentioned in your decree DC, and there's a date on the decree absolute that must correspond with when custody was determined. Those are things that USCIS officers are looking at. They're trained to do. Some of them even know the matrimonial custody is like more than attorneys because they are trained to know what to look for. If you've got a registry marriage and then you submit a customary divorce document for a registry marriage, it's not going to work because a customary court cannot dissolve a registry marriage. But conversely, a high court cannot dissolve a customary marriage. But I'm going to get to this confusion that this new reciprocity schedule is now brought about because the U.S. government now is trying to tell other countries what to do. And we'll get to that. So with a customary marriage, because there is no documentation as far as having a marriage registry, you have two options. Either file a divorce complaint in a customary court, or you get an affidavit, which is basically a non-judicial agreement between the families saying, hey, this is, our children are saying they can't stand each other anymore. Our son has found someone who's 20 years younger than him and he wants to go with a younger 𝒘𝒐𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. So 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓 together. This is the and the wife's family says this is just you paid us 5,000 naira. We didn't want to take it from you anyway because our daughter is not that cheap, but one cash tradition. So here you go, take back your cheap money, and that's it. And that can now be memorialized in an affidavit. So those are the two options you have with customary marriage. What we're seeing a whole lot more now is USCIS is now not only are they verifying divorce documents with high court and know that this is how the suit number should be, this is what the word, this is the ground for divorce. They are now investigating divorce decrees from customary court. That's this lady that I met with, like I said, whose vow was revoked last week of August, submitted a customary court a document. They came back and said, well, it doesn't comply with what we are used to. Now, keep in mind, customary marriages really don't customary marriage dissolution documents don't necessarily have any specific format, but they're not using that because now everyone is getting a customary court decree. So that's what they're focusing their investigation on now. And so my point is all in saying that is if you really do not have to go to customary court, just get an affidavit. Get an affidavit and make life a lot easier for yourself, because if they go and send their agent to verify and there's nothing in the record in the court, there's nothing you can do. This is what happens, and it results in them revoking an approval that you were celebrating. So know the kind of divorce kind of marriage you had. Based on the type of marriage you had in Nigeria, it will determine the kind of divorce document you have. And you must make sure that your divorce document complies. It is compliant with what the reciprocity schedule says. Now, let's go to this reciprocity schedule. It used to be that we had a very detailed, so where is share screen? Where is that? I'm not adding anyone. No. Yo, I can't find it. Okay. No, that's not it. Are you serious? You're on layout. No. Manage layouts. Okay, hold on 1 second, y'all. So these people is why did it see? This is a problem with tech stuff. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, anyway, let's see. Not entire screen. Let's see, what am I sharing? Window. Where is my not entire screen? Choose what to share. Any sir. I'm trying to get this is Chrome. No. window. Oh, Lord have mercy. No, that's not it. StreamYard. I guess I cannot share this. Oh, okay. I see what I can do. I was like, my brain is working at the same time. Okay, I see what I have to do here. All right. This is 180. Okay. Just hold on 1 second because I want you guys to see 180. Okay. Now we're going to save it as DOS. All right, so let's take this out and open this. Give me 1 second, y'all. There's to my madness here. Let's see if I can get this done around. Okay, so present, share screen, window. Okay, there we go. All right, found it. Okay, so if you want to come over to Facebook or YouTube, one of the two, you're going to see what I'm talking about. All right, this is the reciprocity schedule, right? This is where we will go to figure out, okay, what exactly is required for a specific type of divorce document and all that. So if you're able to see my screen, let me know. Can y'all see my screen? If you are on Facebook or YouTube. Hello, Miss Tutola. How are you? Can someone tell me that you can see my screen on YouTube or Facebook? Yes, no? Yes, no? Zancy braids. Hello, how are you? Somebody. Y'all are like 40 people. And come on now. Somebody has to see something. Anybody? Somebody. Hello. Hello, everybody. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this is what we were used to, and it has always been for decades. This is, you see how detailed this is. So, for instance, you are submitting after you had a customary marriage or you had an Islamic marriage, and you want to know what is sufficient proof of your of dissolution of that type of marriage. You go to the Department of State's reciprocity schedule, and you look for your type of marriage. So, say for instance, you see I'm over and around here. This is customary marriages. It says here this is the reciprocity schedule we were using before they changed it recently. So it says there is no legal requirement that a customary marriage should be dissolved by any court, nor any requirement that the divorce should be registered or documented. So that means an affidavit suffices. Let me see. I think there was another place where we actually had that. Okay, here we go. Divorces for some traditional marriages are documented by one of both parties filing an affidavit with a customary court. Right. Finally, traditional marriages may be formally dissolved by a customary court and a divorce decree issued. Where there is no customary court, then the magistrate court may dissolve a customary marriage. Now, if you had a nikah, you had an Islamic marriage, then you would go to where it says Islamic marriages, and it would give you the options. You've got an option where a husband can make pronouncement on the wife 3 times, permanently dissolving the marriage. You've got the option where you can go to a Sharia court that has jurisdiction to dissolve Islamic marriage. So this is what we were used to for many, many years, right? See how detailed that is. Registry marriage says that you have to have the, it's not visible here, but decree nisi, decree absolute issued by the High Court. So that's that. Now, this is what we're used to. This is what we now have today. I'll show you what we have today. What this administration has decided to change and let's see. Okay, so Nigeria, here we go. Okay. This is what we have now. Can y'all see? You saw the previous screen, how very, very detailed that was. Gives you options of what you need, right? This is what the current reciprocity schedule looks like. This is all of it. So all of that information that I just shared with you, this is what they reduced it to. Now, here is the confusing part. If you had a customary marriage, this is what the U.S. government has on its Department of State website, saying that two ways to resolve a customary marriage. They're saying the customary court divorce decrees, which is accurate, but then an affidavit of divorce dissolution, which is good, affidavit, right? But see where it says issuing authority. Now they're saying that the issuing authority for an affidavit of divorce dissolution, which there is absolutely nothing like that in the Nigerian law. Absolutely, there's no affidavit of divorce dissolution. You can do an affidavit as proof of dissolution of your marriage, but there's no such thing as affidavit of divorce dissolution, right? But now they're saying that the issuing authority for this affidavit of divorce dissolution is the High Court of Justice, which is absolutely incorrect. The High Court does not dissolve customary marriages. And there's only two types. There are only two types of high courts in Nigeria: the state high courts, which every state has, and then the federal high court. So, High Court of Justice has no business with customary marriages. So, this is going to create that. I can guarantee you, this is not information that you just got from the Nigerian government, because that makes absolutely no sense. But to be on the safe side, if you had a customary marriage, what I'm advising people to do now is just, it used to be that just an affidavit where you notarize it and put some specific details in the affidavit would suffice. But since they now want to use this phrase of High Court of Justice, and whoever is going to do the affidavit is back in Nigeria, then just make sure that they take the affidavit and have the High Court letterhead on it. Do the affidavit on the High Court letterhead and have it notarized. That would suffice as this quote unquote affidavit of divorce dissolution from the High Court. High Court does not issue that. There's no issue. There's no affidavit that the High Court issues. You can swear an affidavit in the High Court, but there's nothing they issue as far as proof of termination of customary marriage. But if you now go down here, right, where it says exceptions, right, I want to believe the exceptions also are applicable to the customary marriages. It says exceptions. Many divorces for customary or Islamic marriages will have no written record. Marriages under native law and custom or Islamic marriages will also be dissolved by native custom or Islamic custom. Many of these divorces are not recorded. So I think that will be a catch-all phrase that will catch-all phrase or a default option, where even if I don't have the so-called affidavit of dissolution from the High Court, or I don't have a customary court divorce decree, because there is no requirement to have any documentation, then an affidavit will suffice as proof of that. It just has to have specific information, such as when was the marriage itself contracted, who were the how much was the dowry that was paid during the marriage, the customary marriage itself, the dissolution meeting, who was present, do they have specific titles, is there a specific tradition that you follow in your tribe, how much was the dowry that was returned, were the children in the marriage, was there an agreement as to who was going to keep the children? It's got to be detailed, even though it's an affidavit. So that's what you just need to know. So going back to the question of, is your divorce document compliant? Then you just have to make sure that, number one, what is the type of divorce marriage that you had to start with? And when you figure out the kind of marriage you had, a customary marriage is not the same as a High Court. Because I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, as a lawyer, any legal marriage, because see marriage certificate, get and engagement, but but mo dey ba on your master advice, but no, you need a document. But only can money. Okay, let me contact this lawyer in Nigeria and or send me the high court decree, Nisi and decree absolute. You just said you had a customary court, customary marriage. So what business do you have in the high court? Then you're going to complicate things, and then that's when you come meet me like, my divorce document is the reason my case was denied. Let's try to avoid that altogether. That's the whole goal of this. So imagine this lady who has been, almost 2 years now with the VA approval, only to be told that, only to get the notice of intent to revoke, and then the approval is revoked. I-485 is denied. Where does she start from? So make sure that your divorce decree is compliant according to the type of marriage that you had. It is, it just makes no sense to have all the good faith evidence you can possibly have. Like in her case, for instance, she has a child with the abusive spouse. So it was not something that it's a bona fide marriage, but they revoked it based on the fact that she wasn't legally, according to USCI, she wasn't legally married to him because her previous marriage was legally terminated. It is causing a whole lot of issues. So if you can avoid it, that is the best case scenario. So that's all true, people. I'm just trying to help, really trying to help, so that we can minimize the problems that we create ourselves, truth be told, and maximize the wins. That's the goal that we want. Alrighty. Okay. So that's all true. Not when you myself in nothing. I can even sense my voice is tired. My voice is tired. All right, let me get to as many questions as we can get to. All right, let's see. My stuff sharing. Okay, yeah. Okay. Hello, Mr. Abdulaziz. How are you? Hello, 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒕. Hello, Mr. Tosin. How are you? Hello, Mr. Tosin. How have you been? Yes. Hello, Miss Elizabeth. Nice. Thank you all. Y'all, trust me, I don't take it all for granted, taking time out of your day to come together so we can talk all things immigration. Okay, let me go to TikTok. Let's go to TikTok. What y'all have planned for the weekend? My kid is going to his dad's place. I'm like, TV, yeah. Oh yeah, it's like 10 kids in one. Alrighty, let's see. Hello, Sam King, Bismarck. Hello, Miss Sandra. Thank you for joining. Okay. And please do not repeat questions. Put your questions in the comment section. I'll try to get through as many questions as possible. Big Balaji, thank you. What kind of lawyer are you? I have a question about a traffic accident that happened yesterday. I can help you with that. I don't do personal injury. My wife brought me here with K1, which you couldn't have been your wife, unless you're married. Okay, I guess you're married. Your wife brought you here with K1 visa 11 months ago, and she doesn't want to help me with the AOS. I don't want to say your name because then, as long as you are married, you got married, even if you got divorced after the marriage, if she's willing to still give you the affidavit of support, I-864, you can still proceed with filing your I-485 even after your divorce. But if it's a case where she's not even willing to give you the affidavit of support, that is control. That is someone who is manipulating your situation and wants to be in control of your immigration status. Then it may be time for you to think about maybe whether or not you qualify for VA based on additional information you may be able to provide, because obviously you have to meet all the requirements. Do not repeat questions, please. Hello, Mr. Kim. How are you? I-485 case is being processed. What next? That's exactly what's next, is being processed. I did travel with my AP to London and Nigeria based on my pending VA application. So what's your question? I was sent to the secondary inspection and I came back successfully. That's great. And I think we talked about this on Tuesday. And I want to be clear again. There's no way I have said that everyone who travels on an advanced parole is going to have an issue and be detained. I'm sure you would not find that statement in any video I have done. But it for that one person that gets detained, that's 100% issue for them. They're not thinking of, oh, someone else came in successfully. No, in their situation, and for me as the attorney representing that person, that is not something I even want to deal with at all, because now he is even still in detention going on 2 weeks now. Now we have someone who has now been charged with visa fraud and as a criminal case, and then in removal proceedings. So a lot of people are still going to travel in advanced parole, especially if you have no, for instance, someone who never had anything filed for them in the past, and there is no reason to believe that you're conniving with anyone or whatever the case may be. They won't find anything on your phone. It puts you in secondary inspection, and that's it. They let you go. It doesn't change the fact that this is happening to other people. Like I said, I have two clients who are green card holders. They have the green card already, but they got it through the VA process, and they were put in secondary inspection, and the remark was made that we're investigating you people with VA claims. This person just happens to be one who advanced parole and is still in detention. So great that you came in successfully and you went to London, went to Nigeria. A lot of people have traveled and they come back in. That's not the issue. The issue is there is the risk at every single time. This same client had traveled with his previous, before we filed the VA petition, in his previous case, that where he had an advanced parole, he traveled multiple times up until late last year. Came back without any issue. Unfortunately, this time around, he wasn't so lucky. So I still would maintain that if you do not have to travel, do not travel unless it's absolutely necessary. Like you've gotten, that's just my advice. So, but to each their own. We're all adults. You're going to make your own decision. I just want to clarify that. So there's no back and forth as far as, oh, you came back successfully or you don't, or you didn't. That's not the argument. It's about, what's in your record. What may be concerning. And in his case, there was no reason for me to even be concerned. There's some clients I'm like, no, don't even have that conversation with me. You're not going anywhere. In his case, there was nothing to worry about, especially because he'd been out of the country so many times. But you just never know the officer you're going to meet. Okay. Let's see. Nash from Washington, thank you for joining. How can I locate you, please? You can contact our office at 334-341-4475. My girlfriend has a pending asylum and we are getting married soon. Can we file marriage-based application? Abby, are you a citizen? If you're a citizen, a pending asylum application does not prevent her from filing marriage-based case if she qualifies, or you petition on her behalf. I don't know why people on TikTok repeat questions a lot. Usually it's on TikTok. Can I file my citizenship next year? If you qualify, it depends on, okay, you're a citizen. Okay, so while you go through the marriage-based, when you get married and go through the marriage-based case, do not touch her asylum case. Leave the asylum application where it is. That is her fallback status. That's a backup. When she gets the green card, then she would notify. And most of the time, when they've approved the green card, the asylum office actually would send you a notice saying, "Hey, our records show that you have become a permanent resident, and respond if you want to keep this asylum going, or if we don't hear from you, then we're just going to close out your case." But usually I just send a request to them to withdraw that at that point. But for right now, just leave it as is. Dependent asylum does not prevent you from filing for her. I filed for my I-751 2 years ago, and next year will make it 5 years of residence. So what's your question? Okay, so that was your question. Okay. 5 years. So what was the basis of your I-751, Chuk? Was it based on divorce or marital union? What exactly? Hello, Mr. Kim. How are you? My fiance just got approved for the K1 visa after her interview yesterday. Congratulations. What should we do next? Get her on a plane to come to the United States. That's what's next. Okay, let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone's questions. Okay. Okay, based on divorce. Okay, so good faith based on divorce, so you have to wait the 5-year period. Okay, so yeah, so when you that's quite a long time, though. But if it's still pending, hopefully not. But if it's still pending next year, then yes, once you hit 5 years, 90 days before the 5th year anniversary, then that can help to fast track your case. Can you represent us? We are in Ohio. I represent immigration clients in all states. So it doesn't matter what state you live in. As long as an attorney is licensed in at least one state, they can represent your immigration cases. I'm licensed in Alabama and New York. I am well. Spotify. Okay, let me just leave that Yoruba part alone because you might call me Malo Sunsi. Okay, all right, let's see. What's the time? 16. Hello, Mr. Steven. How are you? Thank you, Mr. Tosi. Christian Jeffrey, you can contact our office at 334-341-4475. Send a message on WhatsApp to Lydia. She'll send you the consultation information. Hello, Evil Proud. Hello, Miss O. I'm doing well. How about yourself? Okay, let's see. All right. Yeah, I need to get a new laptop because my laptop is giving up on me. Alrighty. Coded Tanny, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How about yourself? Miss Orifes, I sent an email yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I sent an email with the documents yesterday. So we're waiting on a response. God bless you for you, including all that you do. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Good evening. Okay. How are you, Mr. Sanctuary? I'm doing well. If I didn't include my children on my green card talking about green card applications, y'all, listen. I'm not sure if I was thinking maybe not, but y'all need to understand something. I don't know. I think I don't know what it is, but the most challenging of cases, somehow y'all just find me. I think those kind of cases, I don't what don't go come out. I think like on Caloba. But anyway, another consultation that was actually from yesterday. The husband files for his wife. He got his green card through marriage as well, right? And then he's a citizen, files for his new wife. They have children together. One of the kids was born during the time he was married to the American citizen spouse. But anyway, long story short, USCIS has now sent them notice of intent to deny, based on the fact that they believe that the I-130 petitioner obtained his status through fraud. And the fraud they're claiming is that they had a child together while he was married to an American citizen spouse, number one. Number two, when he filed for his green card, he did not include the first child they had together. When he filed for the citizenship, he did not include, because they have two kids now, he didn't include any of the two kids. So they sent a note that they believe that he's not eligible to even sponsor his wife because he omitted information in his application. And it's not even the I-130 that they're even, so they're The basis of the NOID is not about bona fides now. It's more about eligibility status, because they don't think he was even lawfully admitted, let alone become a citizen. Hopefully it's not going where I think it's going, but when I saw the question, I didn't include. So let me see what your question. If I didn't include my children on my green card application, so what's the question? I just want to put that out there. What's the question then? Can I ask the question? This administration is doing everything they can possibly come up with. I don't think I've seen a case like this, because I've been doing this work 10 years next month. It's crazy. Yeah, that's what we're seeing. But again, God is in control. What happens when someone does the traditional registry and church marriage? What type of divorce should they do? Both of them. Okay, let's see. Can an approved green card under humanitarian condition be revoked even though one has traveled twice internationally? USCIS doesn't care about how many times you've traveled. If they have a reason to believe that the green card should not have been approved, then they can rescind the green card if it's within 5 years. If it's beyond 5 years, they can send a notice of intent to revoke and place the person in removal proceedings. Okay, let's see. Okay, thank you, Ms. Oyefesa. Perfect. And Miss F.I., I see Miss F.I. 751 approved. Mr. F.I., we talked about you. I'm not going to say who she is. Well, we can't even tell. That's the first time talking about from her username, but I see her. Come to Chicago, Chi-Town. That's one of my favorite cities. Greetings from South Dakota. Thank you. Come to undisputed black men. We see you. We're not disputing that too. But I actually lived in Chicago for 3.5 years. Love that city in the summertime. I mean, Chicago, I agree, in the wintertime. Like, that place is brutal. It is brutal. That city is, woo! Lord have mercy. Is it possible to add a minor child to an NVC case after approval of an I-130 petition filed by my U.S. citizen child? The minor is in school on an F1 status, though his visa is expired, but his I-20 is. If your child, disclaimer, nothing specific to anyone's case, but if your child, good evening. If your child files for you and you have another child who's a minor, you can't add that child, because immediate relatives do not have derivative beneficiaries. But I don't know anything about your case. You may want to sit down with an attorney to discuss your case. Got my green card and already enlisted in the U.S. Army. Great. Is there anything I should look out for while filing for my citizenship? I don't know anything about your background. So if there's anything you're concerned about, then you will want to sit down with a lawyer. My fiance is coming to the U.S. on K1. What do you recommend we do once she gets here? I think you're the same person who just on TikTok get married and file your papers. Yeah. Hey, Mama. My mom is on. Y'all say hello to my mother. I did 263. That's my mom. Okay. All right. I think. Hey, baby boy. What are you doing? Or what are you eating, I should say? Excuse me. If you have an asylum pending and your VA is pending as well, what is likely going to be the evidence-based decision? I have zero clue what your question is about. What do you mean, what is likely going to be the evidence-based decision? Okay. Come back to Chicago. I know. You couldn't pay me to live in that city again. I know. I can come live there during the summer, but no. I-130 was approved, but I-45 still pending. What to do? You gotta wait. There's so many cases like that. I'm not sure why they're doing that. I have quite a number of those cases now. We've made God knows how many inquiries. It's just crazy. But you gotta wait. As a 10-year green card holder who has been divorced, can I travel in? Anything about travel, that's not, I don't answer questions about that. Sit down with a lawyer or consult with one regarding your case, your question about travel. I'm applying for a job, but my I-130 and 45 is due for interview. What should I do? Um, if you are looking to transfer the I-45 to your VAW petition, advisable for you to go and let them know that you want to transfer it to your VAW petition. If you're filing a new one, then you may want to request a continuance of the interview, simply because if you do not show up, in spite of having a VAW petition that you're in the process of filing, they will issue you a notice to appear in immigration court. So that's just what it is. That's almost a given with what we're seeing now. So yeah. Okay. You're really trying. God bless. Continue to bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. How long does a green card? Anything about how long something is taking? You go on uscis.gov/processing times. Hey, Miss Creasy, how are you? My daughter, that is enough approval, not anymore. It's like almost 3 years now. Consultation is, it's still the same. I haven't changed it. I'm probably going to change it next year. 140 for 30 minutes, 210, 45 minutes, 265 an hour, I think. Okay. I'm doing well. Okay. Alrighty. Chicago is brutal during winter. Listen, who are you telling? I can never forget. I think it was winter 20. I didn't have a child then, so it had to be 2023, because I remember I didn't have a baby. I didn't have a baby. My oldest kid is 20. He's going to be 21 in December by God's grace. So this had to be, because it was winter time. So it had to be 2023. Either 2023 or beginning of 2024. But I was heading home and I missed my, there was I loved the bus and missed it. And so the final bus that was going my route, I had to wait an hour. And there was a blizzard that day. Sherry, it seemed, I thought I was going to have, what was that thing called, frostbite something, because I was frozen. I've never seen. I was like, what? Were you in Chicago when they shot like down? I probably I left. I've been out of Chicago since 2006. So yeah. What is the procedure if you're married in Africa and want to divorce in the U.S.? Consult with a lawyer in your state. So if you're in my state in Alabama, for instance, and you have lived in the state of Alabama for at least 6 months, then we'll just file your divorce here in the state of Alabama. If you know where your spouse is, we just send documents to them, they sign whatever, we'll file everything with the court. In my state, uncontested divorce, you can get that in as little as 30 days. If you do not know what your spouse is, you do service by publication and save yourself the stress of having to get divorce documents from Nigeria. Now, it doesn't mean every single divorce document from Nigeria is fake. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not even saying anything is fake, but USCIS has an issue with the law because if you submit divorce documents where the red seal takes like half of the page, and you go and try. if the red seal takes like half of your page, you're gonna have to explain where a kindergarten judge, the buying signing, what exactly. So obviously there's some things that's just not going to fly. But even in documents that on face value don't look like it's an issue, they're making it an issue. So you just never know. 2003, not 2023. Sorry. Listen, in 2003, yes. Woo, that was like what, 22 years ago? Lord have mercy. Yeah. So 2023, sorry, what is likely going to be the decision of the court. I can't tell you what the decision is going to do. I don't know anything about your case. It depends on what like y'all want. I think you're I don't know about what was like. I don't know anything about your case. I don't know what evidence is submitted. So how can I give you speculate into what's likely going to be your decision without knowing anything about your case? Yeah, it's 2003. What's it? Well, well, thank God for grace. But anyway, okay, out of time. So please, please, please make sure you're submitting the accurate documentation for dissolution, proof of dissolution of your marriage. When in doubt, just consult with a lawyer before you even start anything. So that, because once you submit a document, you can't retract it. You cannot get it back. It's already in the record. It's nothing you can do. So just try to even do that before, verify your information before you file. It's a whole lot going on. It's this month has been something, right? It looks like, and it's going pretty fast, extremely fast for that matter. But in spite of what may be going on around us, we know that God remains in control. So we would continue to lift one another up in prayer. If anything, I would even ask each and every one of us, in our quiet time, for the rest of the year, who, look for someone on this community, little community here. People have become friends, and that's just the truth. A lot of people have made friends of one another in this in on Tuesdays and Thursdays. In this, I'm actually thinking of starting a group, and where we can come together and ask questions, and I can pop in and answer those questions. I just have so much on my plate, y'all. Like this week, I had jury selection, but at the end of the day, decided to take a plea. So that already destabilized my whole week. Just so much on my plate. I don't even know sometimes if I'm coming or going. But if we get to it, I will. But in the meantime, let's find somebody you're to pray for, and they pray for you in return. And whatever it is, even if there's something they don't want to share, but whatever it is they have placed before the altar of grace, before God, knowing that they're trusting and believing Him for that miracle, for that time of their own, that their own testimony, the time for their own testimony is going to come through. That is all we can ask, because we are seeing what we're seeing, especially with immigration and decisions and all that. It's something, and it can be discouraging. It can be depressing, but that's where the Spirit of God comes in. The Spirit of God that gives us, the Holy Spirit gives us comfort in our time of need. And when we think we cannot move, we can't keep going, that's where the strength of God becomes, the joy of the Lord becomes our strength. When we think that we just are about to give up, that's when we know that we have to rely on Him. He alone that gives us that strength. And He hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. When God gives you that sound mind, you keep going in spite of what may be around you that is telling you, what, it's not going to work out. You're just wasting your time. Tell that voice to be quiet and be still, because God has not spoken. And until God speaks, just keep going. I'll see you guys next week. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Bye.